Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry to be interrupting your conversations, but I think we're going to get started here. Thank you, everyone, for coming to today's event, and I hope everyone's enjoying the food and the conversations. Again, my name is Kevin Chung. I'm the Executive Director of Innovation Investments and Programs at Innovation Saskatchewan. I want to welcome everyone to our latest dIScover series event, where we'll be exploring supports for defense innovations. Whether you're online watching virtually or here at the Research and Technology Parks in Saskatchewan on Treaty 6 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis, we are very happy to play host. We recognize that the lands we are all on today have always been places where knowledge has been shared for generations, and we're grateful for the opportunity to work, learn, and build the future together here in the spirit of reconciliation. Innovation Saskatchewan exists to accelerate research and technology. We know that true innovation happens through collaboration. Our dIScover series connects our community with experts to share ideas that challenge us, inspire us, and drive progress. Today's talk aims to increase awareness of new opportunities for Saskatchewan innovators to engage with national defense innovation initiatives. The recent boost to defense innovation funding by the federal government, coupled with the evolution of the defense sector, highlights multiple pathways for our province's tech and research sectors. Significant initiatives related to cybersecurity, aerospace, quantum computing, and AI have applications rooted in Saskatchewan sector strengths like agriculture, energy, mining, and critical minerals. We think Saskatchewan's innovation ecosystem can make a huge impact in this industry, helping to support this national priority and drive growth in the province. And we're honored to help, we are honored we can help show you how that's possible through experts from Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security, or IDEAS, Saskatchewan Trade and Export Partnership, STEP, Prairies Economic Development Canada, the Ministry of Trade and Export Development, and the Digital Integration Center of Excellence from Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Now, before we start, a few things. There will be an opportunity to ask questions of all our presenters today at the end of the program. So if you can please save your questions towards the very end, we'll invite all of our guests back up to do a little bit of an audience Q&A. Those who are joining us virtually can drop the questions in the chat at that time, and we'll share them with the room. For those of you here, again, please continue to help yourself with food and refreshment in the room right around that corner there. So for our first presenter, I'd like to welcome Daisy Truong, from Procurement Officer from the Government of Canada and Innovation for Defense Excellence and Security. Welcome, Daisy.
Hey, hi everyone, and thank you, Kevin, for the warm introduction. And thank you, Innovation SAS, for putting this on. This is a great turnout, and thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. As mentioned, my name is Daisy Truong. I am part of Procurement Assistance Canada. However, today I will be representing IDEAS and delivering a short presentation on their behalf. All right, so what is IDEAS? So IDEAS stands for Innovation, Defense, Excellence, and Security. It is an innovation program which invests in research and technology aimed at meeting the demands of today's complex global defense and security requirements. This program was co-created and launched by the Department of National Defense, DND, and the Canadian Armed Forces, CAF, back in 2018. They were provided a 20-year-old mandate to deliver on advancing defense capabilities, and they were funded up to $1.6 billion for this initiative. It works out to be about 85 million annually. So their goal is to continuously tap innovators for the solutions to help various partners like Air Forces, the Navy, Army, Special Forces, and others to help transform and improve Canada's defense capabilities. So ideas is for all Canadian innovators, from defense primes to academia, small and medium-sized enterprises to not-for-profits, municipal, provincial, and territorial entities to individuals. International organizations can also take part of the program when partnered with a Canadian recipient. The only people who are exempt from this program are former and current public servants and those who are not legally eligible to do business in Canada. So IDEA's focus is to solve challenges from every possible angle to bring new thinking to D&D and CAF and welcome thinking from non-traditional sources such as agriculture, the automotive industry, healthcare sector, or any combination of technologies that could be offered a breakthrough or new approach in the defense and security. So as of today, IDEAS has received responses from all Canadian innovators from every province and territory. On average, 53% of the applicants come from small and medium-sized enterprises, 26% from academia, 18% from large industries, and then less than 2% from non-for-profits and individuals. Proposals were well distributed across the country. And as of today, IDEAS has invested about $2 million in Saskatchewan innovators. So IDEAS can fund projects at all stages of development. The program accepts and develops early stage research as well as more advanced prototypes to near to market solutions for real life testing. Their funding continuum is broken into 3 buckets. First one is advancing research and development. They support the building of a dynamic and innovative community whose objective is to invest in development of solutions to Canadian defense and military challenges. Next, we have demonstration of technologies and prototypes. This is where they push technology forward to a demonstrative level that can increase defense capabilities. Investors can showcase their advanced prototypes through their own work in simulated environments. And last, testing of the best solutions. This is where D&D and CAF will test the most promising solutions in a real world environment. And then here is a breakdown of how IDEAS works. So it usually starts when D&D and CAF their priorities. So challenges come directly from D&D and CAF stakeholders. So whether it's the Royal Canadian Forces, Navy, Air Forces, Cyber, and other groups, these aren't abstract problems, but tied to real world priorities, future capabilities for our defense team. And then once a priority has been defined, IDEAS will go through a multidisciplinary collective brainstorming process called ideation to refine the challenge that they're experiencing. Then when the challenge has been refined, IDEAS will determine their best approach to release the challenge to the innovator community using one of their 5 funding elements. So whether that's through a funding stream, competition, or test drive. IDEAS will put the most advanced and promising technologies into real world environments. Each element is unique in how it's designed to advance science and technology and deliver supports to innovators. So ultimately, the strategic investment in IDEAS program for Canada's defense and security infrastructure empowers our defense team have access to more innovative, ready-to-use solutions, thereby reinforcing our country's defense capabilities. So this is one of my favorite features of the IDEAS program is that the intellectual property will stay with the innovators. So everyone here in the room, along with D&D and CAF benefiting from these new solutions, the company or the organization can continue to profit from the technology that's being developed. So currently the IDEAS program has 2 active challenges. For more information, I do encourage everyone to visit their website where they can find challenge details and any updates to past projects that they have funded. I have been told that depending on the priority of the challenges, there are lots of times where they will repeat past challenges if it's something that they're actively trying to solve. Lastly, I do encourage everyone to subscribe to their email list to receive updates on when new challenges are posted. And if you have any questions about the program, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daisy. Next up, we have Peter Siarkos, Director of Manufacturing and Defense at Saskatchewan Trade and Export Partnership, STEP. Welcome, Peter.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Kevin. And thank you to Innovation Saskatchewan and the whole team here for hosting us this afternoon here at the university. Excited to talk just quickly about STEP and some of the work we're doing and on obviously exciting area for the province in which we're well positioned for and already doing work in. And so let's get to the next slide here. Sorry. Yeah, so just really quickly about STEP. For those who aren't familiar with us, we're the provincial export agency, trade promotion agency for the province. And we're really unique in the way we are structured. In Canada, we're one of the only provinces that has a nonprofit membership-based trade promotion agency model. So what that means is we're mandated to help service Saskatchewan exporters, companies or firms or research organizations that produce a product and or service here in the province and have the aspiration of or able to export that outside of the province to within Canada and internationally. We work with more than 400 Saskatchewan organizations across many different sectors, including energy, mining, agriculture, and aerospace and defense. And STEP's operations are funded through our provincial government, through the Ministry of Trade and Export Development, and through our membership revenues as well as an organization. One of the things we're really excited about with STEP is the ability to collaborate with different partners. So here we have a few partners that you'll hear from and I've heard from today so far. Examples of working with the Ministry of Trade and Export Development with international offices overseas to help our clients find customers overseas. Working with Innovation SAS to refer our clients to some of the programs that you offer, which are really strategically beneficial to companies and organizations here in the province to help accelerate the commercialization of a product or technology here. Working with partners like PrairiesCan, just having returned from Agritechnica in the egg equipment industry, and also helping clients understand how defense procurement works. And then working with partners like PSPC and the Trade Commissioner Service as well. So just really grateful to be here with some of our partners. And when you combine all these different organizations and programs here in the province, it really helps position Saskatchewan firms to move very quickly in whether it's in aerospace and defense or in other industries as well. Some of the work we do is we do provide export advice. Oh, sorry for the. So if you're looking for advice on how to enter a different market, whether it's within Canada or internationally, that's okay. We do provide that as well as planned trade emissions. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the trade shows in aerospace and defense, and then also providing market research. So if you're looking for total addressable market size, what the compound annual growth rate of a specific product sector market might look like, whether it's in aerospace and defense, mining, agriculture. We have a team that just happens to all be in Regina that does the most of that work for our clients. And then we do host seminars as well to provide export education. So when we look at Saskatchewan aerospace defense overview, I'm not going to read through all of these, but we already have and are known for capabilities in the industry, everything from advanced manufacturing of composites, machining, fabrication, components for land systems, for tanks, for light armored vehicles, for naval marine systems, for ships. A lot of technologies like satellites that are being manufactured here or components from Saskatchewan here specifically in Saskatoon. Even things such as fire suppression systems and technology or IP around munitions and artillery as well. And hydraulics, lots of hydraulics here in the province. And I think a lot of this stems just from the work that we're already doing in agriculture and mining. There's a lot of crossover between the three areas. So what is Canada buying? I'm not going to get into all the details, but I'm sure most of you have seen the federal budget, well over $140 billion. I think it's $80 billion over the next 5 years that Canada is spending in defense, with a new NATO target of 5% that Canada signed on with a 3.5% core spend. That basically means that Canada would need to spend about $80 billion per year to meet that NATO target. But Canada has committed to 80 billion plus over the next 5 years. So this presents a lot of unique opportunities. And here in the pictures, you can see there's a program called the Ground-Based Air Defense System. The top left is an example of a platform that OEMs are bidding on. The middle of the top there is artillery. So there's a Joint Fires Modernization Program. There's a light utility vehicle program. Canada's supposed to be buying up to 1,000 light utility vehicles. I don't know what program the top bottom left is, but we work with OEMs, including like Bell Textron, that are looking for suppliers here in Saskatchewan and across Canada for platforms such as the V280 Velour tilt rotor craft. There's a domestic Arctic mobility program. I think it's over 200 vehicles that need to be procured for the Arctic that are tracked based, as well as, which has gained a lot of news recently on CTV National, is the submarine program, the Canadian Patrol Submarine Project, CPSP, where Canada is planning to buy up to 12 conventional submarines. So there's a lot of, those are just 6 areas within defense. I mean, there's a whole plan you can see online called the NORAD Modernization Program in defense that outlines what Canada's priorities are over the next 10 years. And probably more that Kevin will share after in some areas in defense procurement. These are some of the key events for aerospace and defense. So gonna put a plug in there for March 11th. I may have the date wrong here, I apologize, but I think it's March 11th as the Saskatchewan Aerospace Defense Forum, and it's here in Saskatoon. This is an opportunity where we work together with our partners to bring some of the big OEMs like your Bell Textron, General Dynamics, and others to come here and connect with suppliers and to showcase what programs they're pursuing in Canada and how you can become a supplier and what they're looking for in suppliers and R&D groups as well. There's a new show, DefSec West, that's always been held in the Atlantic, and that's its first iteration next year in Calgary in March. And then there's CanSec in Ottawa, where we had over 20 companies from Saskatchewan participate in this provincial trade mission to the show. It's Canada's biggest defense trade show. This year we did a trade mission to Eurosatory in France. We had about 8 or 10 companies, along with a few R&D folks that participated with us at that show. It was a massive show. Lots of tanks, helicopters, airplanes inside the building, and even naval ships just in the river. Sorry, that was DSEI this year, Paris next year. So DSEI was in London this year, and Eurosatory is the one we're hoping to do next year. And then there's a few other shows listed there as well. So, I mean, these are just a few of many, but the few that we're kind of focusing on at STEP in terms of supporting our members in. And last but not least, just opportunities for Saskatchewan firms. I'm not going to read this all out here, but just got a diagram of unique things. And so when we look at submarines, the question becomes how are we going to power them if they're hydrogen powered or if they're lithium powered diesel submarines? Where's that hydrogen going to come from? Could we leverage the expertise of our mining consultancies and our energy companies and our mining technology and equipment companies to extract resources and power the next generation of Canada's defense systems? Modular infrastructure. The Canadian Army commander was just here recently at the U of S and was saying that we need to move infrastructure up north and have the necessary equipment and expertise and systems up north. Training stimulation, health, medical technology, etc. The list goes on, and there's a lot of dual use applications in defense. So we're really excited to play a role in this and help Saskatchewan organizations participate in this industry. If you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us. Happy to help. And just want to thank you all again here for being here today. Thank you again.
Hey, thank you so much, Peter. Next up, we have Kevin Karakochuk. Sorry, Kevin. Senior Business Officer from Prairies Economic Development Canada to talk a little bit about PrairiesCan.
Thanks very much, Kevin, for the invite and the land acknowledgement. And I think Peter basically covered it. So no, I'm just kidding. But I'll tell you PrairiesCan's role in defense. PrairiesCan, Prairies Economic Development Canada. To some of you knew it as Western Economic Diversification Canada, but we've always had defense as a pillar. It's always been in the background, but really we've been really known for more of a funding agency. But I've actually been very fortunate to have the defense ITB portfolio since 2017. And since 2017, the defense landscape in Saskatchewan has come a very long way. And that's partly due to a few different factors, but one, the opportunities are becoming more and more prevalent, and more so in the last 6 months more than any other time. But a lot of companies that play in the defense space historically play in oil and gas, mining, agriculture, but realize that the equipment they have or the processes that they have or the knowledge they have really carries over to the defense sector. And there really is a lot of dual usage there. So companies started kind of dipping their toe into defense. A lot are off and running, and we're seeing more and more interest all the time. So at the crux of defense procurement, and ITB, it really is the ITB policy. I could do ITB policy for a day, nobody's here for that. But at the crux of it, it's the policy itself is rewarded to defense procurement contractors to undertake business activities in Canada equal to the value of the contract. So if it's $100 million procurement contract, they are obligated to spend that amount of money in Canada, whether it be through academia, R&D, supply chain, tech, the list goes on and on. So Canada's procurement strategy leverages the economic benefits derived from the procurement contracts through, it's actually ISED's ITB policy. So that policy is connected or maintained on all procurements over 100 million. Now, if the project is under 100 million, it's kind of a case-by-case basis, but we're seeing the ISED ITB policy attached to majority of procurements going forward. So the prime contractors that award these defense contracts make eligible ITB investments in Canada, post-secondaries, not-for-profit organizations, etc. Now, I guess an important distinction here, even though PrairiesCan is a funding agency, the ITB policy is not a funding program. There's no money attached to that. You get the benefit by being a sub under one of the major primes and signing a contract with them. And there's no requirement to distribute ITB investments in different regions. So all the RDAs have ITB teams. I'm part of PrairiesCan's ITB team. I have a counterpart in Calgary, a counterpart in Winnipeg, and we have an ITB team in Ottawa. It's my job to wave the Saskatchewan flag and try to get as many of these ITB contractors to do business in Saskatchewan as we possibly can, and to get as many of our Saskatchewan companies connected to the opportunities with primes and with D&D. So not only is PrairiesCan, what is PrairiesCan's role in ITB, but what is mine? And I spend a lot of time doing what you see on the screen, plus a whole bunch more. But really connecting firms that have obligations to our Saskatchewan companies. Convening industry events, Peter touched on a whole bunch of them. You'll see I narrowed mine down to three major ones that I wanted the group to be aware of. Promoting Saskatchewan capabilities, no matter where we are and where we go, we're always trying to wave the Saskatchewan flag for companies and academic institutions here in Saskatchewan. And just pathfinding, question and answer, just helping raise the portfolio of Saskatchewan to the aerospace and defense sector. So aerospace and defense in Saskatchewan, like I said to start, it's come a long way. We have a ton of Saskatchewan companies that have proven themselves to be world-class suppliers now, from space agency work to aerospace and defense contractors. And we have quite a few companies that are playing in that space in the room here today. Our strength still basically lies in our strong manufacturing sector that we have in the province. But more and more capabilities are coming to the forefront all the time. AI, quantum, critical minerals, manufacturing, just to say a few. The tech sector is rapidly growing here in the province, and we're seeing a lot of these technologies having military and defense applications. And to note there, prime contractors are also looking to Saskatchewan for opportunities to deal with Indigenous companies, Indigenous communities. I'd be willing to bet here today that Saskatchewan leads Canada in the amount of Indigenous participation that we have in defense. We have some very, very, very strong communities and companies playing in the space. And more we're seeing a requirement in the contracts to work with Indigenous companies. So there is that little bit of added incentive for them to participate. Some opportunities in the Sask ITB outlook, and Peter also touched on budget 2025 of the 81.8 billion in spending over 5 years, which includes 9 billion in 25-26 alone. That was announced by the Prime Minister in June of 2025. Canada's accelerating investment into NATO, the 2% gross domestic GDP, as well as getting to that NATO defense investment pledge of 5% by 2035, excuse me. The bottom is just, those 4 numbers are fluid. Those were taken back in the spring, but it just kind of illustrates the demand right now, the opportunity. There's currently approximately 103 active contracts that most people aren't aware of. Prime contractors have upwards of 60 billion in ITB obligations that need to be fulfilled with suppliers like yourselves. So, and as we move forward, that need and those numbers are going to go up. Peter talked about the submarine program. There's a future fighter jet program. There's land utility vehicle. Peter had a great slide showing a good range of them, but there's probably 3 of those slides full of opportunities that are coming down the pipe in the next 5 years. Now, we recently, myself and Michelle and Ted, who you'll hear from next, had the opportunity of taking some prime contractors around Saskatchewan the past couple months. 2 very large primes came to the province and were extremely happy and really opened their eyes to the capabilities that exist here. But one of the major themes that they articulated to us was certifications. When we go to a company, they have great technology. There's a knowledgeable staff. Their operations look amazing, but they want to know about certifications. And to get into the defense sector, it's not always a prerequisite, but we're seeing more and more contracts and more primes asking if the company has certifications. And I've listed, I'll call them my top 3. There's more. There's dangerous goods, there's CWB on the welding side, there's core, there's a bunch of different welding designation ones. But controlled goods, I would definitely put at the top of the list as a certification that more and more primes are looking at companies to have, or at least be in the process of obtaining. ISO 9001 is basically the quality management system standard, which a lot of companies do have. AS 9100, though, is certainly more specific if you want to play in the aerospace sector. And it is a little more comprehensive and a little more vigor in terms of the quality management for that particular certification. A lot of aerospace companies are looking for that particular certification. And then a really new one to the list is cybersecurity. More and more companies are looking to partner with SMEs that are in the process, somewhere along those levels of their cybersecurity. These will be made available, so don't, fret or have to worry about taking pictures or writing a whole bunch of stuff down. Peter touched on events. One he didn't touch on, though, is the top one, which is the Western Innovation Forum. And that is taking place in February. Now, that is a 100% online virtual platform. You don't have to leave the comfiness of your desk. There'll be more information rolling out about it in the upcoming weeks. But basically, you go onto the PrairiesCan gateway called Gateway Portal. You basically fill out an application, who you are, what you do, what your capabilities are. In turn, the prime contractors also fill out that same sort of application. There's kind of a matchmaking exercise. Then you have 3 full days where you can do one-on-one B2B meetings with the prime contractor virtually on the platform. They can read your profile, you can read their profile, and you can connect on the profile and make B2B meetings. I have to touch on the Saskatchewan Defense Forum, something that's near and dear to mine, Michelle's heart. We've been running the Defense Forum in Saskatchewan since 2017. It alternates between Regina and Saskatoon. That is strategically done to highlight the capabilities that exist in the Regina greater area and the Saskatoon greater area. We've had extremely good prime participation. It keeps rising. We had 180 people last year in Regina. We're looking to build that. It's at Prairieland Park this year in March. And there'll be a lot more information rolling out about the Saskatchewan Defense Forum in the upcoming weeks as well. And then CanSec is the big one in Ottawa. It's the largest defense show in Canada. It is the mecca of defense. If you have an opportunity to go, it's worth walking the floor to see it. Every major prime contractor will be there. Steph has done a fantastic job of helping promote it, taking the Saskatchewan mission to the show. And we've actually, the last 2 years, we've done a Saskatchewan reception in the evening where we've invited the prime contractors to come and meet with the Saskatchewan companies that are there one-on-one. In conclusion, so if I was going to wrap all this up, D&D procurements and the ITD policy really drive investment coming to Canada and the prairies. Like I said, I think we've seen a record number of investment come to Saskatchewan since the pandemic, and Indigenous participation is at an all-time high and trending upwards. I think the bottom one is probably maybe the most important, but be patient. It can take years to build a relationship with D&D or the primes. It can be a long road sometimes, but the payoff can be momentous, and it can be a very, very good foot in. You might not be able to participate on a particular contract with a particular prime, but these are multinational primes that have multiple business lines across the world. And once you get in, a recent prime said, once you get into the supply chain, you're a supplier for life. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Before we introduce the next speaker, just a friendly reminder to everybody who, especially the ones who have registered, we will be sending all the slides out to your email. And if you didn't register, feel free to reach out to any one of us to get the slides. Next up, we have Michelle Grella, Investment Attraction Officer from the Ministry of Trade and Export Development. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate seeing so many new faces and so many familiar faces. My apologies, my slides are fairly uneventful and unimpressive, but I left it to Peter and Kevin to have all the great defense photos. Oh, yeah.
Michelle, can you hold the mic closer?
Oh, sure, yeah. So just to start, I was asked to introduce myself, so that's what I'll do. Michelle Grella with Ministry of Trade and Export Development. We cover all areas of manufacturing, and we have 4 divisions in our ministry: international engagement, strategic policy and competitiveness, economic development, and marketing and communications. So I am specifically in the economic development division, where we build, grow, connect, and we have a global presence with 9 international offices. So I'm specifically in the international relations branch, and I work in manufacturing, and we cover agriculture manufacturing, mining, and obviously defense. We're so lucky to get, can you hear me? We're so lucky to be able to work with so many great companies, and we say, like, we have the best job. We have the best job because we get to connect with so many of folks like you. I'm probably better one-on-one talking and learning about your business, but honestly, it's a great day when we get to go and visit IMM, or who else do I see here? Rockford or Callian. Yeah, we love doing that. So what we do is we're connectors to government resources, partner opportunities, project opportunities, new markets, pathfinders. We want to, if there's issues, we want to help you navigate any regulatory or workforce needs or issues. We want to promote, we want to tell your story, we want to share your success. So if you have like a new innovation, if you're doing something new, we want to know about it, and we want to help. We want to help spread that word. So we cover many areas. So some recent events that we just had, we did an energy forum and a government procurement forum. Next week is manufacturing week. And the next slide will show you some things that are going on, and I can send anybody registration links if you're interested. There is one specifically on tariffs and navigating that. But as both Peter and Kevin mentioned, it's the Aerospace and Defense Forum that is near and dear to our heart. We've been working on this for a while. We're very proud of it. We've already had conversations, really great conversations with several defense prime contractors, and they're very excited to participate this year. So stay tuned for more information on that. We have a web page that's going to be opening in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more information. Registration should be opened, I would say, by January, but we will let you know. We will ask everybody to spread the word. So just some events that are going on next week for Manufacturing Week. EMC has a webinar on AI path for Saskatchewan manufacturers, and that's on Monday. Wednesday, I don't know, I know IMM is participating. I think I saw Tom here. He's the industry education will post ManuQuest, and that's really for students. We all hear labor issues. Students, they'll take them through their facility. They spend half a day at Sask Poly. Terry and Winston are here, and they just show them the cool things. Manufacturing isn't all sparks, welding sparks. There's a lot more to it than that. There's some really cool things that you can do. So that's on Wednesday, and then Thursday is the tariffs breakfast and workshop that I was referencing, and I'm happy to forward that information if anyone's interested in registering for that. And that is it. I neglected to say Tracy probably would have been here as well, but she's been traveling. She was at Agritechnica. And she is just on her way home. So she would have loved to have been here. She would have loved to have been here today. But anyway, that's all for me. I thank you for your time, and reach out anytime. I've got some business cards at the front there, as well as Peter and Kevin, and I think Terry also put some business cards there. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And last but not least, we have Terry Peckham, Director at Digital Integration Center of Excellence at Saskatchewan Polytechnic.
Guys, we're running a little slow today, so I'm going to see if I can't go fast to get you guys out of here. So I'm actually not here representing Saskatchewan Polytechnic. I'm here representing NATO. We are one of two NATO Diana test centers here in the province. Vito is one here in Saskatoon, and I am the other. And so what does NATO mean? Well, we're part of what's known as the Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic, DIANA. And we were one of the lucky contestants to win that particular privilege to be a test center within the drone space. So we do a lot of work inside drones. So what does NATO have to do with anything? Well, much as we heard earlier from the IDEAS program, NATO also has a series of grants. Those grants are not just for Saskatchewan or Canada, they're for NATO in general. There are usually 2 phases to those grants, and they cover a large number of areas. Phase 1 usually gives you about 100,000 euros. So they do everything in euros because, again, this is NATO, not Canada. So phase 1 is about 100,000 euros to get an idea to kind of a first viable product type thing. If they like what you've done, then you go to phase 2, and that's about 300,000 to 400,000 euros per project to finish off that prototype and usually do a small run is sort of how they do things. And so where do we fit in? Oh, before we get there, calls, there aren't any calls currently open. They had a call just a while ago. So the areas that they were looking for calls, as you saw on the board already, energy and power, advanced communication, contested electromagnetic environments, critical infrastructure and logistics, operations in extreme environments, maritime operations, resilient space operations, autonomy and unmanned systems, and data assisted decision making. So those are some of the categories, which covers a wide swath of just about everything out there, and should be able to find some partners that you're looking to work for. Kevin didn't highlight the part, but there was at the bottom of one of those slides for the ITBs, it was $15 billion in Canada alone of unfulfilled ITBs that they need to find a matching partner for. NATO's bigger. You take a look at Canada, we're spending a large amount here, but you start multiplying that by what's being done around the world in the different countries that are out there. And the contractors that you deal with here in Canada, ironically enough, are the same contractors you deal with in NATO. And so what you do here translates very, very, very well to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is looking for the exact same solutions to a lot of the stuff that you guys here are looking to develop as well. So I'm going to divide real quickly into what we do here at Innovation Center of the North as a test center. Basically, one of the big caveats is dual use technologies. Military procurement has a long history of being very slow. And so you need to make sure that your product, as you're developing it, has other uses that you can sell to keep yourself afloat until those military contracts come home. Now, there are changes to the procurement system taking place. The reality is nobody knows what that looks like quite yet here in Canada, but it is changing, so there's hope. And we'll find that out going forward. As a test center, our basic job is to, as you're coming out of phase 1, there are requirements, whether you apply for a Canadian IDEAS grant or whether you apply for it, there's requirements you're supposed to meet. So your product or your thing has to meet or do these things. We test those things for the military and for your companies to make sure they meet, exceed, or we'll let you know where they fail. And so that's sort of our job description. So since we're in Saskatchewan, I'll give you what we do. Remote sensing, unmanned autonomous systems, augmented virtual reality, extended reality systems, energy and resource management systems, industrial IoT, additive manufacturing, materials development and characterization, cybersecurity, extreme cold weather testing facilities, data and sensor integration, data management, AI, ML development. Everybody does that nowadays. Long-range flight corridors for unmanned systems. So we have a couple of private airports that we have access to in the far north that we can start flying some of the drones from. They're private, so we can do a lot of things. We've got ground-based radar systems and acoustic systems to monitor your drones coming in, so we can do all sorts of things like that. Ground-based AI and DAA, so that's detect, avoid. So those are more for the drone thing. So can I avoid a bird or tree branch or whatever happens to show up in the way of your drone, unless you're trying to crash into another drone, which is a different story altogether. We do a lot of work side, as I mentioned already, regulatory and compliance development. So that's back to that testing, making sure that your product meets the rigor necessary. And then access, as I mentioned already, to several private airports across Canada. And we have an icon, we got Icon Diana website, but we also have my Sask Poly. The cards are out there. Just for those that are interested, my shop is on the other side of the parking lot at What 21 Research Drive. And so we are opening our doors. If there are some people that would like to come through and take a quick tour of some of the stuff that we have to offer. I think we've got a robot dog that's going to walk around and maybe greet you a little bit. And you can take a look at a whole bunch of broken drones, things like that. But feel free to come on over after, and then we're going to hang around for questions. I think I'm going to stop there and turn it back to Kevin.
Thank you very much, Terry. Yeah, please actually stay, if you can stay here. We'll bring all the presenters actually back up for a little bit of a audience Q&A. So yeah, if folks that are presented, can you, if you can please come up, we can maybe take some questions from the audience.
Or a Broadway bow.
Yes, that's welcome as well if you guys feel like it. Yeah, so absolutely, let's open it up to the floor here. If anyone has any has a question, I can bring the mic around and ask these presenters here.
I like this.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Down.
So on ITB specifically, it used to be the case that there would be multipliers for spend. Are those still in place, and what are they?
The short answer is yes, there is multipliers. They are being re-examined, but there's if you're working with a consortium, there's a multiplier. If you're working with academic institutions, there can be a multiplier. So yes, you're right. Now there is some wavering numbers out there. I've heard 5, I've heard 7 multiplier, I've heard 5, 4. Send me an email. I have connections. I can get you a better, more up-to-date answer on multipliers. Yes. But yes, they are still there.
Any other questions before maybe I jump in? Okay, so, go ahead.
So the ITB seems like a huge opportunity from this group. Why aren't more of them being connected right now?
Kevin or does anyone else want to take this?
Well, yeah, I think there's a knowledge piece for a little bit. It's some people don't realize that there is this opportunity floating out there. So part of my role and all of our role is, and kind of how the Saskatchewan Defense Forum came to be, is a vehicle to connect the opportunities that I'll call them that are out east in Ottawa to the capabilities and the companies that exist here in the province. So we're all trying to make those connections by bringing prime contractors out, by having the Defense Forum, by doing things like this, outreach sessions, webinars. We're trying to spread the knowledge and spread the word that there is a ton of opportunity out there. But then it's up to you as a company. Does it make sense? Is this something we wanted to do? We dip our toe in, or are we going to jump in with both feet? Some companies have done both. But as long as it makes a smart business sense for you to aggressively pursue the opportunities, we'll try to help you every step of the way.
Just to add to that, before we started the Aerospace and Defense Forum, companies were like, Saskatchewan, like what, they used to fly right over, and they admittedly would say, we used to fly right over without giving Saskatchewan a second thought. And now we are on their calendar. We're in their travel plan now. So when I said before that we're really proud about the Aerospace and Defense Forum, we really are, because we kind of have put Saskatchewan a little bit on the map, or I hope that we've helped do that a little bit. And that's the idea behind these things, is to get folks like yourselves connected to those opportunities.
I'll just quickly add to that. So there's direct offsets and there's indirect offsets as well. And indirect offsets is a really exciting part as well, because it doesn't mean that the work necessarily needs to be done in defense specifically. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a machine shop or you have to build a component or a part for a drone or for an airplane or for a ship. If let's say if you're familiar with Hanwha or ThyssenKrupp, those are the two big companies that are shortlisted for the submarine program. If let's say ThyssenKrupp has a sister company that's doing carbon capture technologies and is looking to set up carbon capture facility in Canada, and or has those capabilities and needs to hire a company, a consultant or engineering company, or buy equipment to manufacture components or machinery for that system, there are indirect offsets that the defense contractors can claim towards their ITB obligations for a project. So this opens the door to a wide variety of other avenues of business opportunities and even export opportunities, not necessarily just in Canada, but if they're pursuing projects internationally, and they're spending money with the Canadian company, they can claim those credits. So it's exciting times, like Michelle and Kevin were saying. But yeah, not just on the direct side of being a subcontractor manufacturer for Boeing on an aircraft part or a submarine, with one of the submarine contractors, but even doing other avenues of work in mining, energy, health tech, medical tech, etc.
I'm just going to add one more piece to that. The next one is relationships. You actually have to meet these gentlemen and ladies that are there representing those companies, and you need to be able to flex and pivot. So we're in Saskatchewan. How many of us know how to build submarine parts?
Toilet seat, maybe.
Toilet seat, maybe. But the reality is we manufacture stuff that we're very good at. And so then what does your industry do? And then how can that benefit the process for submarine components? Because there's probably a lot of stuff that we can do that would fit very, very well inside a submarine, but we just don't think of ourselves as doing that because we're in the middle of the prairies. And so sometimes it's thinking a little outside the box and how you can attach yourself to these up and coming opportunities.
Oh, I don't need that.
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, just do.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm going to talk because you asked, like, you said something. As someone who has a startup who has actually moved to this province and getting to know people, I hear a lot of people talking. Thank you. I'm the obnoxious Ontarian. Okay, I got 5-6 new people to talk to. Great, I'm going to make relationships, but what's the actual process? Who is the right person to really start talking about this stuff? Because if I've got to start emailing 5-6 people, start chasing everybody, I'm losing a deal somewhere else, right? It takes a long time to work with the government. I said I've worked with the RDC in the past. Awesome group. Takes a long time. Who is the right group to start talking to? Because that's why we have 15 billion left alone. That's why we have contracts not moving. Who's the right person to start so I can make you my new best friend?
I'm going to say Innovation Sask. Who wants to jump in here?
We'll do everything through Innovation SaaS. No, I mean, there's no, I guess, one central repository. But the benefit that you guys have is we all talk to each other on a weekly, even daily, hourly basis. So by getting into one person's door, you'll get into all of our doors eventually. On the export side, obviously, Peter and his team and to Michelle, and if you're looking for funding, well, then we can throw you at some different avenues for that, including PrairiesCan itself. If it's just for connecting or making a connection, we all can probably do that. But we do have the benefit of, well, and we're all in Saskatoon, so that helps as well. But we're all very connected on lots of different fronts all the time. So you get one of us, you'll get us all most likely at the end of the day. Yes.
Good answer.
Great question. So, the common sales term is ABC, always be closing, right? Trying to close as many deals as you can, but also encourage another acronym, ABP, always be planting the seed for new opportunities as well. And so what we're seeing a lot of companies that are starting to not just continue with the existing business they're doing and going to the existing trade shows, local or national or international shows, to fulfill their existing business, but picking one or two shows that they can go to plant the seed for new aspects of their business. Because you never know if something happens. Commodity prices are down right now, right? So certain industries are struggling, and so we're seeing a lot of interest from companies that weren't diversified in different areas before, that were just servicing one industry, and now are saying, hey, how can we get involved? Versus some companies that have already been diversified in more than one industry or servicing more than one different market, that helps propel their opportunity to close something quicker, let's say. So always encourage both, I would say. But like Kevin and Michelle were saying, like being at those events, being at events like this, and just knocking on any one of our doors, eventually everyone will, the right people will kind of reach out to. And there's a lot of times where we'll tour, all of us jointly, a facility to go and see a company that we may have seen in the past, but didn't realize they had another capability specific to this industry.
I have a small example. So something similar to yourself, we met with a stakeholder, academic institution here in Saskatoon. I think it publicly announced, but she's out there listening. So we talked with Vicky quite extensively. She wanted to get involved in defense. We recommended that she go to the online platform to connect with prime contractors, put a profile in, read the prime profiles. She had a series of meetings with different primes. She kept the conversation going. She came to the Saskatchewan Defense Forum 3 months later. That prime was there. They talked again. They met. They talked. 3 months after that, she went to CANSAC in Ottawa, met that same prime again, talked, kept building a relationship. 8 months later, they signed a $17 million MOU with Boeing. So it can happen.
That's the kind of interesting thing.
Does anyone have another question for this group here? Okay, maybe I'll jump in with one. Lots of great opportunities, obviously, through the IDEAS program. Lots of contracting opportunities, and obviously dollars through the ITB policy. For those of you who are in the room who might be, really focused more on the civilian side of their technology products or services, who or where would be sort of the best place to go to get started if I'm interested in looking at opportunities on the defense side of things for my, again, the product or service or technology that I'm working on? Who wants to take that one?
Sure. Just to clarify, like on civilian technology, so not necessarily really the platforms, but more on like services or other like technology, like.
Yeah, I just mean for folks who are, again, like they're working on, like they're currently selling more on the civilian side of things. They're thinking about, are there opportunities on the defense side? Where's sort of the best place to go to?
Yeah, great question. So I think the Saskatchewan Aerospace Defense Forum is great because when you hear from the presenters, they talk about different programs that they are focusing on. And they're not all related to necessarily platforms. Some of them might be in services areas as well. So for example, let's say you've got a platform for helping find employment, for employers, right? Well, employment is a challenge in the defense industry, as we heard from the Army, the Canadian Army commander a couple of months ago when he was here. They're trying to find, dentists, right? And dental technicians and so on. So there is opportunities by networking at that event to meet with not just the defense contractors, but also the actual folks within the Canadian Armed Forces that are at our event as well, to ask them, what challenges they're facing, but also to hear from them on what programs and priorities that they have. Same thing if you're developing technology for water or for health, right? I mean, these are challenges still. Like, how do we get clean drinking water up in the north, and how do we get, deliver the same quality of health services to our Canadian Armed Forces and the communities that serve them, right? So going to that event, I think, is really beneficial. And I would say even that WIF event before it, the Western Innovation Forum, is really great because when you fill out your capabilities, you'd be surprised. Maybe it has nothing to do with a specific vehicle or platform, but it might have something to do with a professional service or an AI technology. And, they might get a couple bites potentially from some of those defense contractors.
Yeah, behind the scenes at the WIF. So when you fill out your platform and profile, and the prime does too, behind the scenes, there's a matchmaking exercise. So when you put your capabilities down and the primes put what capabilities they're looking for, you're going to get pop-up saying you should reach out to this company. And that company is going to get a notification saying, you should make a meeting with this company because they have what, so there's a matchmaking exercise that goes along there. But to also find, how to get, well, I would say, go back to the ideas, they post challenges all the time. Terry was talking about the NATO challenges, plus the government of Canada has buyandsell.ca. They list all the active procurements and Canada Buy. Sorry, I'm the old. Yeah, thank you. It came up on Google, but they're all listed there, dollar amounts, project titles, and if you think that you can actively participate in one of those, then the mechanism is there to reach out. Sure.
Just to add on to that, most, if not all of the defense contractors have supplier portals. And that's one of the first things they'll ask is, have you gone there? And have you, filled out the information on the supplier portal? So that's one thing that you can search, and we can help you with that too. If you're looking for something specific, we can send you the link to get that started.
This supplier portal is important because they don't like to give out their emails. So they contact you when you fill out the right information. Yeah, we have the emails, but they don't like you to have them, or because they're worried about other countries getting them. So anyways, the Future Aircrew Training Program. We need carpenters, electricians, engineers, pavers. It's aircrew training, but the reality is a lot of these contracts involve so many other aspects, which is why you need to take a look at it. The other one is sometimes what you're looking to do in the future, you're looking to expand your business, grow your product line, do fancy and foreseen things, partnering and doing consortium work, either with other post-secondaries like the U of S, U of R, Sask Poly. That helps increase your ITB numbers, and it gives you a better shot at getting some of those contracts. So partnering is another great way of going forward.
Just one last thing is just right place, right time. So some of the events that we're at, like, Michelle and I were together in UK, along with some of our other partners earlier this year, or I guess a few months ago. And so when you're with us at one of these trade shows, whether it's CanSec, whether it's Eurosatori, our goal is to help connect you with the right customers there. And so sometimes things just spontaneously happen. For example, when we took Terry into a meeting with one of the major defense contractors, only to find out they're looking at potentially, hey, how could we maybe set up lithium or EV battery manufacturing in Canada? So when you're with us at these events, our goal is to help connect you with those folks, and you'd be surprised who you meet on the other side of the world. Like, meeting Serco, for example, even though they're based in the East Coast, they're in Saskatchewan once a month. They employ over 70 different people in the province. Didn't even know that until we were in the UK. So, and for sure, they're looking for different professional services and technologies as well. So, right place, right time, and being part of whether it's a Team Canada mission or a Saskatchewan mission can really help as we can kind of connect you with some of those folks.
I just want to jump on what Terry said about the FACT program out of 15 Wing Moose Jaw. Maybe not widely known, but it's a very, very large procurement, a very large, really a base revitalization. And Terry hit it. It's not just, but we're talking food services, janitorial, security, top to bottom. So they are looking for a ton of suppliers in the next 5 years. So keep that in the back of your mind, or even spread the word that base is going through an overhaul, and all different suppliers are going to be wanted in the very near future with that base revitalization.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We have time for one more question if anyone has one. If not, we can let you folks go. Thank you so much again. Another round of applause for the presenters today. So that brings our event here to a close. Thanks everyone who's joined us either in person or virtually, and for our presenters for sharing their time and knowledge with us. Yeah, please feel free to visit our website if you're interested in attending another dIScover event in the future, or you want to learn more about what Innovation Sask can do for you and the group that you're working with. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you at the next event.